Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today's episode is going to be on energy transmutation, and as usual, I'm gonna begin this podcast with a quote. Everything is in flux. Everything changes. The body changes. The soul changes. We are capable of extraordinary self transmutation and internal self transformation, and that's a quote by Clive Baker. Transmutation is a verb that means to change from one nature, substance, form, or condition into another, to transform. And the reason I was making or I'm making this episode is because how I talk about or how I talked in past podcasts that everything is a matter of perspective. Well, that's just the first part of it. Is understanding where you're at, or the flip side of the coin, or the other side of the argument. But then once you understand that information or that perspective or that concept, then you have to get from the place where you are to where you want to be. So if you're upset or sad or depressed or anxious or fearful about something, and you don't want to be fearful, you have a different perspective, a different point of view on the situation. You now have to get from feeling that negative emotion or that negative energy to feeling a higher energy or a more positive energy. So this podcast is about how to do that. This is a really, really in-depth subject. This podcast is more of like an introduction into the subject. So I'm just putting this out there so like it'll give you guys something to think about. This is stuff that I've stumbled into while doing research and while discovering myself. So I figured that if I need it and it's something that has helped me, then I'm gonna put that out there and allow it to be something that helps somebody else. I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. I'm waking up. I'm stumbling, but it's all good. We're gonna make it through this. All right. A form of transmutation that we all may be familiar with is the term or practice of alchemy. Alchemy is most commonly associated with people's quest to achieve the transmutation of the base metal into gold. I'm sure that we've all heard about, people searching for like the philosopher's stone, or in like fairy tales or legacy, or maybe even seriously, in history. But like people searching for the philosopher's stone, or these artifacts or that are associated with the ability to take metal and turn them into gold. um you could say it's fairy tale or not, but some people actually believe that something like that existed, and that was known as alchemy. And alchemy was basically being able to change something useless into something that was worth a lot of money, worth gold. And this is kind of the same thing. You're taking a negative energy, or energy that you don't want to experience, and you're bringing it up to a higher energy. So like if you are feeling like anger, depression, sadness, any emotion that doesn't serve you, this is going to give you a starting point to research and to look up how you can take an emotion that doesn't serve you and doesn't feel right, doesn't make you feel good, um, and bring yourself up to a higher emotion. Because, we are the captains of our fate. You know, we are the masters of our destiny. And in doing that, we learn information, we learn about ourselves, we learn about our journeys. But in doing that, learning is only half the battle. Application is the other half of the battle. And application is oftentimes the hardest part when it comes to, change and getting to where you want to go and doing what you want to do in life. Is because I'm sure like the things that we talk about, a lot of the people who listen to what I'm talking about, they all know what I'm talking about. Like this is nothing new. This is stuff that people have been telling me since I was a kid, and it's stuff that you hear over and over again from different people and football players and motivational speakers. But for some reason, application always seems to be the hardest part. This is no different. It's not going to be easy. It's not something that's just, simple, and that you look at your emotions and say, oh, I'm angry. And then you just say, well, I don't want to be angry no more and be sad. It can be that easy. But for most people, it's going to take time and work and effort to be able to be good enough to transition from one energy to another, or one frequency to another, because there's a whole unexplored world that the school doesn't really teach us about. And as I've been talking about, you can't exist through life and be successful if you only master or focus on working on one plane. There's spiritual, there's the mental, and there's the physical. If you only go through life working on your physical, yeah, you're gonna be strong, but eventually there's gonna be something that your spiritual or your mental is gonna be the main thing that pushes you through, you know. And if you don't work on those different levels in your life, then you're gonna be unbalanced. You're not gonna be in a good position to handle all different variety of issues that may come your way. Knowing how to change your focus, change your mindset, change your perspective, change, your motivation from time to time. Your drive stays the same, but your motivation may change. Um, is going to be key in helping you to get over the different and various, issues or fights or battles that you may face in life. This is just, again, another piece of the puzzle, like how we've been talking in the past, that, everything is related, everything is everything. And instead of that one thing being the master key that people are looking for to change their life, there's little pieces to the puzzle that's going to paint the whole picture. This is just another piece of the puzzle. And again, it's just a tidbit because this is a very deep subject. And it demands a lot of research. So I encourage you, even though I'm talking about it now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there's definitely more research that is warranted in reference to this subject. The book The Alchemist alludes to transmutation of not metals but of one's life. One of the main messages of The Alchemist is that of personal legends. Personal legends serve as the only means by which an individual can live a satisfying life. In fact, the universe can only achieve perfection if all natural things continuously undergo a cycle of achieving their personal legend. So I'm sure you've heard me talk about the book The Alchemist. It's a great book. I love it. Um, I didn't want to put it down, but that book embodies what I'm talking about in this podcast. So the main character in the book was setting out on a journey to achieve one thing. But in going through that journey, he discovered that what he was trying to achieve wasn't, or what he was trying to obtain wasn't something tactile or something you can touch. It was the journey in and of itself. And through going through that journey, he was changed, from who he was to who he became. His perspective shifted, his mindset shifted, he changed. And he was embracing his personal legend, and this process of evolving into a higher being with a new personal legend, and then pursuing that new goal. This evolution process is transmutation. Because we can't go through life and stay the same. Everything changes, everything is going to grow, everything is going to, age, nothing stays the same. So in order to go through life, we're going to have to change. And sometimes growth can be painful. Sometimes we can feel like, it's never going to end and we're just in the middle of it and we're stuck. But that's not the case. The sun always rises and always sets. It doesn't just stay there. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're growing through, is a stage and a lesson, and it's to make you better. For the most part, I can't say everything you experience will make you better, because sometimes we put ourselves in situations that don't serve us or our goals. So we end up suffering, and that's 110% our fault. But, for the most part, everything that we go through life can make us better. And again, it's a matter of perspective, because even if you go through something bad in your life, it can still make you better at the end of the day. You just have to take a lesson from it that is something that you can apply to your life, that'll keep you from making that same mistake and help to push you further towards your goal. And in doing that, you will change. I promise you that if you go
Your
through
task is
anything,
repeat once.
affirmation reminder. My I'm sorry. I promise you that if you go through any type of hardship, trial, tribulation, anything like that, and you look for the lesson in it, and take it as something that you can gain or be taught, you're definitely going to change. You're not going to stay the same, and you're going to grow, and you're going to become a better person, the person that you need to be in order to accomplish your goals, just like in The Alchemist. The law of conservation of energy is the physical law that states energy cannot be created or destroyed, but may be changed from one form to another. So this is where, like, I'm talking about how school focuses on one aspect of it but not the other. This is science. It's a very well-known scientific principle. But it also applies to our lives as well outside of science. So anger, sadness, anxiety, fear, all of those emotions have energy frequencies, or frequencies that they put off. They're types of energy or frequencies that can be put off. And you can change from one state to another. Um on the internet, if you Google it, they have like a chart or a list of energies, and they list them from like low to high. Like anger will be the lowest, or sadness or something, and then it goes up, and then joy will be the happiness, or satisfaction, or I can't remember the list. But I'll look it up and attach the link to that in my podcast notes. But just like how we say like attracts like, if you put that frequency out there, you're gonna welcome that to your life. If you say, man, I can never win, or things are always difficult for me, or I can never do this, or I'll never be good at that, you're putting that energy out there, and the universe is gonna give you what you ask for. So it's gonna try to match that energy, that frequency that you're putting out there into the universe, and that's what you're gonna attract to your life. This is why we have to be conscious of the way that we talk, especially about ourselves. We have to be conscious of the way that we think, especially about ourselves. The books that we read, the music that we listen to, the people that we're around. All of this stuff, contributes to who we are and how we live, and the way we perceive things and manifest things. So that's why your parents always tell you, you got to beware of the company you keep, and the music you listen to, and the stuff you put into your mind, because this is your eyes and your ears are the gateway to your soul. So if you want to have a good spiritual plane, or a good spiritual level, you have to feed it the proper things. And I'm not here to tell you what are or aren't, but the question that you can ask at the end of the day is, does it serve you? It's just like leading a healthy lifestyle. You could work out all you want to, but if you're not eating the right foods, then at the end of the day, you're not going to obtain the physique you want, because working out and getting like a physique and stuff like that is 80% diet and 20% working out. So you can work out all you want to, but you can never outwork a bad diet. So that's something that we talk about, and talk about in like, I'm sorry, not talk about like I'm in that community. I'm by no means a weightlifter or bodybuilder or anything like that. I do it to stay healthy. I read up on it. I learn what I can. I learn like this much in the grand scheme of things. So I don't want to say we as like I'm in that community. I'm just trying to be as healthy as I could possibly be. But I have read that in that community, the 80-20 rule applies. Also, when you get around people and the hairs on the back of your neck stands up, but there's something just not right about the person, or the situation, that's energy. Something might make you uncomfortable. You walk into a room, you're like, I don't belong here, or I don't think I want to be here. That's energy. Our bodies can feel that type of stuff. There's a lot of unseen things that are going on that we don't pay attention to because they're unseen, but that doesn't mean they're not there. They're not, working. They're not real. So we need to pay attention to the world at large, even the things that are unseen. We experience different energies and frequencies throughout our daily lives, just like I was talking about just a minute ago. Like when you walk into a room and you just don't like somebody's vibe. That's what we call it, the vibe that you get off of somebody. That's energy and frequencies. Our body is in tune to that type of stuff. Like when you listen to a song and you're like, I'm just not feeling that. You may be at a higher energy than or frequency than that music is putting out, and it doesn't serve you at that moment in time. So pay attention to these little feelings and like hints that your body's trying to give you, because they are very important. Our bodies are more in tune with the things around us than we would give them credit for. It's not just a bundle of cells and nerves and tissue. There's a lot more going on than we have been led to believe. When we feel anger, happiness, depression, we are experiencing different energies and sending out frequencies that attract like frequencies. Again, we've already talked about this. Like attracts like. If you want to be happy and you want to be successful, you want to be, in love, you want to be disciplined, you want to be focused, you got to do the things that attract that type of energy, that attract that type of frequency, that create that type of lifestyle. If you want to get more done throughout the day, this is the energy or frequency. Well, it could be. It's just a different perspective. But if you want to get more done throughout the day, there's only 24 hours in a day. That's the common denominator amongst everybody. We all have the same 24 hours. So in saying that, if you want to get more done throughout the day, wake up early. If you wake up early, you now have a jump start on your day. So if you wake up early, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, now you got time to read that book. Now you got time to work out. Now you got time to dedicate to your own home business or something that motivates you, some research that you might be able to do. You can wake up before your kids. Now you have created that atmosphere or that space in your day for you to be able to do what you need to do. And in doing that, you're creating the energy of productivity. And it just becomes like a snowball. You start off just by reading a book and working out, and then you eat healthy, and then by the time your kids wake up, you're not groggy because you're just getting up, and you feel more lively and ready to take on the day. And since you've woken up early, you've already fixed the kids' lunches or laid out their clothes. So now, when the bus comes, everybody's not running frantically to get on the bus, or, it's not a hassle to get the kids in the car, and everybody's just ready and everything seems to flow. But the reason things seem to flow is because you have created that space. You have created that snowball effect that started off with a simple task of just waking up early, and then it grew from there. And then it's just going to have a positive effect on the rest of your day. It's going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. It's all about creating that space for it to happen. It's all about knowing where you are, knowing where you want to be, and knowing how to get there, knowing how to bridge that gap. Because knowing is half the battle, but application, again, is the most difficult part. When we practice energy transmutation, we are realizing that we are experiencing an energy lower than where we would want to be and attempting to raise it to a higher one. We've talked about this again, but these are just my talking points. So if I repeat myself, I'm just making sure I'm covering information so that I get, what I feel I need to get out there just to, spark the imagination, spark your mind so you can do some more research. I know that we have all felt sad or depressed or, feeling other than we want to feel, and we have wondered or thought about, I don't want to be in this place. How can I, get to a better emotion? Energy transmutation is one of those things. So like when doctors say, if you're feeling depressed, go for a walk, go work out, go talk to friends, surround yourself with people who are happy and stuff like that. That's energy transmutation in a sense. When you move, when you work out, when you go and get some sun, when you're around positive people, you're shifting your energy. You're not just hunkered down, you yourself and your thoughts just sitting there thinking, and your thoughts beating down on you, and you're in the same environment that caused you to be negative or made you feel the way you wanted to feel. So getting out, changing your perspective, and putting yourself in a place around, positivity and happiness and joy and stuff like that, that could take your energy level higher. It'll make you come up from feeling that lower state of energy. Because I'm sure nobody wants to be angry all the time. I'm sure nobody wants to be depressed all the time, or nobody wants to be sad all the time. So, sometimes stepping out of your situation that made you feel that way, or going and taking some time by yourself or around people, it depends on how you are. Um, it could change your energy level. Um, and again, but knowing is half the battle. If you know you feel some type of way, then you need to take an action to correct that. It's nobody else's job to make us feel happy or to make us feel safe or to encourage us. That's all on us. We need to be our own cheerleader. If you have somebody in your life that could do that, that's awesome. That's great. And that's a very valuable asset. But there's a lot of people out there who don't. And I mean, even if you do, you need to learn how to be your own cheerleader, because that person may not be in your life forever or around you when you're going through hardships, trials, tribulations. You might not be able to pick up the phone and call them, or just like in boot camp. Like when I was going through boot camp, I couldn't just pick up the phone and call my mom, who was a major source of inspiration for me and motivation, who has helped me get through a lot of hardship and trials. I couldn't just pick up the phone and call my grandfather, who again is the reason for this podcast and for my company, and taught me things and helped me to be the man that I became. I can't just pick that up. It was me on an island. It was me and all the things that I had been taught and learned and gone through up until that point. And I just needed to combine all of that stuff and make it through. And I did. I was my own cheerleader. And I feel like that's very valuable. We all have to learn how to do that. Also, we can practice the energy transmutation to change energies from a physical or less creative one to a more creative one. Like I was reading something, or there was something I shared on my Facebook for you, those of you who follow me on Facebook, where he was talking about taking destructive energies or energies that don't serve us and changing them to higher energies or energies that do serve us. It was like I'm not going to go into it more so because it was really really in depth, and just to like overview it on this podcast will kind of be cheating the experience. And he was talking about it more in the realm of relationships, how to change like impulses or base feelings, like kind of humanly urges, into different energies, because you realize that that energy doesn't serve you in the relationship or help you to obtain your relationship goal. So if you follow me on Facebook, it would be something really awesome to look into. But yeah, I'm just putting that out there. So I know when I do these podcasts, I usually provide some ways for you to practice or to look into doing the thing that I talk about. This podcast is no different. So some helpful ways to help you practice energy transmutation. Again, and this is stuff that we've already talked about, that we've already discussed, so it's nothing new. But number one, as always, be grateful. There's a lot of people out here in this world that don't have what you have, that aren't capable of the things you are. Just be grateful. Be mindful that you might not have everything you want, but you may have everything you need. And if you don't, you have life. And each time you take a breath, it's an opportunity for you to change that, to change the bad things in your life. So be grateful. Disidentify with the ego. I'm probably going to have to do another podcast on this if I haven't done one already. But the ego is a reason that some of us may be halting our success. That ego is a monster, and we need to learn how to get in control of that and disidentify with it. Acknowledge it. Again, knowing is half the battle. So you know about the ego. So now you learn how to deal with it. And then again, application is hard because that ego is something else. Forgive yourself and others. When you hold on to emotions, it only hurts you. Like when you're angry, it only hurts you. The person you're angry about probably doesn't even care. So holding on to emotion and all that negative energy doesn't serve you. It just feeds a never-ending pit of just negative emotion, and that doesn't serve you. Accept, embrace, and let go. Hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You can't change everything. You can't save everybody. Accept where you are. Embrace what you got, what you've done, and just let it go. You know, it is what it is. Empower your inner child. That's important because a lot of us have lost that inner child in growing up. You know, the ability to dream, the ability to have imagination, the ability to love and trust, and, you know, all of that stuff that you felt, you know, as a child, those positive emotions that have kind of got, you know, destroyed or placed into a back room in your mind as you become an adult, because, you know, as an adult, you're forced to be realistic. You know, embrace that inner child, because anything is still possible. You know, anything is still possible. Nothing has changed. You still live in the same world now that you lived in as a child. Granted, some people may argue that, and I mean, that's legitimate. But I mean, for all intensive purposes, you still live in the same world that you did live in as a child. So, you know, embrace your inner child. Give them a visit. Redirect the energies and find joy. You know, if you know you're in a negative place, then refocus that negativity and get it to a positive place. You know, it's all about knowing where you are, where you want to be, and having the ability and the information to jump over that gap. Love yourself and treat yourself well. Nobody's going to do you better than you're going to do you. You know, love yourself. You are in this body. This is who you are. You know, this is you. Love yourself. Treat yourself good. Go out to massages. Take baths, like bubble baths or hot baths, cold baths. Sometimes I take cold baths. It's very therapeutic or very, you know, healing. I feel great after I do it. Massages. Let me see what else. Pedicures, manicures for people out there that do that. You know, whatever you need to do to treat yourself and love who you are, you need to do that. Sound bathing, listening to different frequencies and positive type music, stuff like that. Keep your power. Don't let people hold the pen to your story or write your book. You determine who and what you are and what you're going to go through and what you're going to stand for. And lastly, don't try, allow. You know, either you do or you don't. You know, there's no try. You know, either you are getting good grades or you aren't getting good grades. You know, all the efforts that you take in between aren't trying, is working towards either getting good grades or not getting good grades. So, you know, and if you're going through a situation that you have no control of, then fighting that or going against the grain, you know, is just creating negative energies that don't serve you or can't help you. So, you know, just allow it to be what it is. And if you can change things or refocus that energy, then refocus the energy. You know, capture it, bottle it up, hold to where it's at, recognize that you're not going to let it go any further in your life, and then change it, redirect it, focus it into a more positive direction. Because at the end of the day, you know, we are the masters of our fates. We are the captains of our soul. This is our body. This is our lives. This is our future. You know, nobody's going to come along and save you. You have to be your own cheerleader. You know, you have to recognize that the energy that you're feeling or that you have felt in the past does not serve you. You don't want to be in that place, and you want to go someplace better. You want to do more with your life, more with what you have, where you are, you know? Love yourself, treat yourself, and refocus that energy to a new positive direction.